My name is Ben Gulliver. I'm a filmmaker, and I spend a lot of my time traveling to remote locations in the world. The film that I'm making right now is called The Sea Wolf, and it's really about surf exploration. My goal is to document waves that have rarely been seen. And usually, most of them are in cold and uncomfortable places. To get good waves in Canada, you need to know where they are, and finding them is pretty much next to impossible, unless you really, really want it. You need a boat, or a helicopter, or a seaplane, and then you also need 20 years of wisdom.
Since I was little, the whole crew of friends and I have been exploring. Even in my own backyard, I mean, there's so much in Clayoquot Sound that I haven't seen. Tofino is the end of the road. That's one of the reasons I like it. The whole point that there's so much unexplored coastline is just that it's inaccessible. We're gonna do a trip about 50K up the coast and just try to make a plan that we can get in and get out.
It's really hard to predict the weather around here, how fast it's going to move, and sometimes it creates optimal conditions and sometimes it buries you in a nasty world of rain and wind.
Southeast 20 increasing to southeast 30.
Either it's going to be really good or it's going to be absolutely horrible. So we are going to a spot north of Tofino. It's one of our best consistent waves. I mean, right now it's not looking ideal, so it's like 50-50, I guess, whether or not we should go. So I think, fuck it, right? We're gonna bring along Pete DeVries and Noah Cohen, who are Tofino's local pro surfers. And everything's all set. We just have to kind of keep our fingers crossed.
A lot of people wouldn't understand why we'd want to go through what we go through to capture these images and surf the waves, but for us it's just what we know.
Heli packed, seaplanes packed. Just trying to find somewhere for this lantern.
Ripping my eyelids a little bit wider are two crying hands that grew out from my shoulders, and I can't explain why, but it's hurting my eyes.
We have explored far north, up to Alaska and Haida Gwaii and the west coast of British Columbia, but Vancouver Island is its own beast. It seems to just go forever.
Going north from Tofino, there's nothing except pristine coastline for hundreds of kilometers. There are so many variables with surf that you might go to a spot where you think it's going to be good and it just doesn't work out.
For us to be there at the right times, it's a huge challenge. You know, there's no webcams, there's nobody you can call up or text to see how it is. Like, the spots we go to are literally us who goes there, and trying to navigate all that stuff just to get some waves. There's no real telling that it's going to be good until you're there. We're here. Step one complete.
It's the start of December and it's been a really mild year so far, so it kind of makes it nice to be out and about in it.
Winter is the best time for surfing for the Pacific Northwest. That's when all the systems are, so we try to get as much done as we can in the winter.
This time of year, the days go by so quick. You gotta surf, you come in, you eat, you go back out, and the day's over, you know?
When the waves are good, depending on the tides, you'll get a window of a few hours. So you try to be ready for that.
A good wave here is a large right-handed stand-up barrel. That's what we are looking for. That's what we want to film. Proper and clean. At this spot, that is always the goal. What I'm doing right now, it's trying to shed light on surfing cold locations, and the goal is to document very remote waves and remote parts of the world. Usually most of them are really hard to get, so it's kind of exciting and really fulfilling when you do get those spots, knowing that we might potentially score a place that's never been seen before.
Here's a good one. It's our pilot. He's got to go before it gets dark and he gets stranded. Some places in the world, the water's blue and warm and the wind is always the same, and it's kind of almost too predictable. I think I get bored of that. Last night, everything looked really good on paper. It said it was supposed to be blowing 35 to 45 knots, and there's not a breath of wind.
It's flat. So we're gonna have to improvise. I wanna try find a basketball net.
Trips nowadays all have more than one objective for sure. Like, the objective is always to try to score really good waves and get good action photos, but then through social media there's so many companies that are looking for content too, so I always have backups, and I'm shooting all the time. My body of work is more about the journey than about actually successfully scoring waves. I try to just show the photos that I like and experiences that I like.
You know, for these trips there's a lot of moving parts, and you know, luckily me and the boys all work together, and you know, to get everything to line up and for everything to just go smoothly, it's certainly not a walk in the park. You go places and you might not get anything. That's just the risk that you take. But it is exciting going on that hunt.
I'm interested in things that are not fashionable, which makes the best and most interesting content in fashion. And if you are in fashion and if you are working as a fashion photographer, I believe you are automatically doing something that is trending right now, which oftentimes becomes a problem, I think. So am I a fashion photographer? I don't know, I think maybe not.